Hello once again to another Weather Matters video. I'm joined by James Ashley from the Bureau of Meteorology, and my name is Meredith Guthrie from DPIRD. So this is a couple of maps for the growing season rain we've had to date, so from 1st of April to the 18th of June. The map on the left is in millimetres, so we have Mylup with 402 down here near Bunbury, Mullewa with 200, and there's also a couple of locations that haven't had as much rain as the others. So we have Nungarran here with only 27 for the growing season, and Esperance with 63. And you can see this is a decile map here on the right. So you can see the north have had really good rain so far, James, and they're actually sitting decile 8 to 10. A lot of that rain fell in June. So Benue had 200 millimetres first 2 weeks of June, which is absolutely crazy. But there's also a few locations here are sitting at decile 3 or below. So that is a bit of a concern, and hopefully the season can turn around for them. On to the soil water map. So this is a soil water map from the Bureau. You can see there the dark purple. So that was a lot of the rain that fell in the first couple of weeks of June up north. But you can still see that Hyden is still having a lot of stored soil moisture from that heavy rain they had early in the year. But there's still a few locations here who haven't had as much soil moisture as other locations. So on to what's happening in the next week or so, James.
All right. And it actually looks a bit like what we've already experienced so far in June with the main weather system coming through is on Saturday. We have a decent cold front moving through. It'll produce most of the rainfall from this system will be near the west coast, as you can see from those rainfall maps from the EC and Access models. And it looks like being one of these systems that a typical cold front for sort of June, July, it'll move through pretty quickly. Cold air coming up behind it. So probably as during next week, might see temperatures, minimum temperatures dropping into that sort of frost zone, that sort of 0 to 4 degree mark. So something to watch out for there next week. Rainfall wise, as I said, mostly near the west coast, but it does look like some as we've seen so far this month, decent falls through the central west, maybe pushing in through the northern wheat belt areas, and the area that sort of Great Southern area still sort of missing out with this system coming through this weekend. Another thing to note is there's been quite a lot of rain through the Gascoyne and western parts of the Pilbara over the last couple of days. And you can still see that there's a reflection of that in the northwest there with the rainfall on both models. That'll weaken out over the next day or two and then clear up. But some pretty heavy falls up there over the weekend and into the early part of this week. Just a quick look at the July to September rainfall outlook. Encourage you, if you do get an opportunity, to go onto the Bureau's website and interrogate these maps further. You can put in your location and bring up decile information and also some sort of 5-month outlook information. So it's quite a lot there. So I encourage you to have a look on the Bureau's website for that. The main thing we wanted to point out here was while there's still quite a consistent wet signal stretching from the northwest to the southeast of the state, we're starting to see during this sort of late winter, early spring period, potential for some drier than normal conditions through that Great Southern area. It's a bit of a change from a few weeks ago, so I encourage people to keep an eye on these outlooks to see if that trend continues.
So this is the August to October outlook here, James, from the Bureau, and it looks pretty dry here for much of the Southwest Land Division, which is a bit of a concern. So as you were saying, we can have a look at individual locations. I've chosen Benue here, so you can see that even the access model didn't quite get the 200 millimetres for June, which is interesting. And it sort of drops down into decile 3 to 4. That's the yellow for the rest of the growing season. And for Albany, which obviously has not like Blenheim, has had below average rain, and with this currently sitting, so for May, they got an average for May, but then June has been quite dry, and that's the rest of the access runs here are very variable, but most are sitting around the below average. So obviously for if different parts of the location, the state will have different outlooks. So like James said, if you get a chance, just jump on the Bureau's website and have a look for yourself.
So some summary points, Meredith. The Southwest Land Division has had the autumn break, even though it happened in winter pretty much. Long-term outlook indicating that drier than normal for the Great Southern through that the rest of winter and into early spring. Just keep your eye on that and see how it unfolds over the following sort of weeks and months. And Meredith, this is going to be our last Weather Matters video for at least the short term. So on behalf of both of us, thanks everyone for listening in. Really enjoyed providing you with some information. Hope it's been useful. And hopefully we get to do it again sometime, Meredith.
Yep, James. Just before we go, I'd just like to point out some DPIRD resources available on the agric.wa.gov website. So there's a weather station website and a couple of apps available now from Android and Apple. And then we have the Seasonal Climate Outlook newsletter, which is written every month, looking at seasonal forecasts, including the one from the Bureau. And then we have a season 2024 web pages that can help you. And there's a number of DPIRD tools, such as the rainfall to date, the extreme weather events tool, the soil water tool, and the potential yield tool, which you can use for your location. So thanks for listening, and hopefully it rains in your part of the world soon. Thanks very much, James, for joining me, and see you later.
Thanks, Al.